Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy-daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Earnest James. Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Tees. With our inspirational tees, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Tees. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Tees at dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Earnest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Earnest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on all of our social media platforms, to all of the places where you can listen to the podcast, and also on our YouTube page. We definitely want to get those numbers up for our YouTube. Also, I'm going to tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast, right? I'm going to tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast, and it doesn't cost you anything, but you have to stay until the end of the episode in order to get that information, right? So we're going to jump right into our first sign of business. Is our product of the week. Our product of the week, again, with this podcast, this is the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. When I'm recording this, I also have started recording my second podcast, which is called the Girl Dad Discussions podcast, where I interview girl dads and daughters to talk about their experiences with their dads, right? And so with that being said, I've often been asked about how do I start a podcast? People ask me, how do I start a podcast? So my product of the week is very new, and here I've been working on it. And so now it is done. I think it's like my fourth ebook or so, and it's called Start Your Podcast Now. You can see it up there. Start Your Podcast Now in only 3 steps. Start Your Podcast is only 3 steps. It is an ebook that I've finished. That's our product of the week. It is now available at ebooksbyejames.com. That's ebooksbyejames.com. Make sure you guys are checking that out. Go and check out that product of the week, ebooksbyejames.com. Not only that, but make sure you are checking out both of our websites. Our website, the dealhealfulfill.org website, which is our overall business website, which has information about myself, the things that I am doing, also a little information about the podcast, information about the where you can get the ebooks, which is ebooksbyejames.com. Also, where you can get our inspirational teas, because of course we do have our inspirational teas on Shopify. All of the information is available at dealhealfulfill.org. And also, again, make sure you go to ebooksbyejames.com to check out the ebooks that we have available, including the very new addition to the ebooks, which is Start Your Podcast Now in only 3 steps. Right. So thank you guys. Very excited about that. So today, this is usually we have a guest, and I say, well, but today I don't have a guest. Today is just me. Again, with this new season 3, one of the things that I wanted to start doing is have more episodes with just myself to really connect with my audience and let you guys hear from me. Instead of always interviewing with someone, which is, I love interviewing people and bringing on new perspectives, and also bringing on people who have different experiences that can help the audience, right? Because again, I always say I haven't been through everything, neither do I want to go through everything. So I bring on people who have been through some things that I haven't, in order to bring some healing to the listeners, right? In those specific places. So, but today I wanted to talk about nets and circles, right? Nets and circles. So what do I mean by nets and circles? I mean our circles, which is our circle of influence, and also the networks. Nets will be the networks that we are in and that we are pushing to get in some places or some reasons. So let's start off by talking about circles. So I say the difference between our circle and our network. Our circle is the people who we were born with, right? The people who we live around, the people who are readily in our environment, that's already there. That is our circle. That's our families, our friends, our neighbors, our schoolmates, even our associates at work. That is our circle. Those are the people that we are around just naturally because they are in our environment. Right. Our network is people that's new to us, right? People that we have to actually go out and seek out, by joining different organizations or putting ourselves in new places where there are new people with new ideas. And so that's the difference between our circles and our network. So I want to talk about our circles real quick. And my first question is your circle helping you or harming you? Right. So our circle, again, is our circle of influence, being our friends, our family, the people we hang around, the people that's in our environment. Right. Are they helping us or hindering us? Oftentimes, we are caught in a place where we're trying to grow and we're trying to go to the next level in our lives. But the people around us is maybe stagnant. Right. The people around us may be cool where they are. They don't want to do any better. They don't want to go to the next level. They're just content to where they are. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? They may be just happy with their life where it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we are the person that's looking to go to the next level, we have to evaluate our circles, right? To make sure that our circle is not hindering us from where we're trying to go. I always tell the story about when I grew up. When I graduated from high school, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew the school I wanted to go to. I knew what I wanted to go to school for. I knew what I wanted to become. I knew that the career that I wanted. And so that's where my mindset was when I graduated from high school. I went straight, with my plan to figure out or to put into action the plan that I had already planned out for my life. My circle, however, didn't. And so they all kind of hung together. And for many years, nobody inside the circle, outside of myself, really stepped out to do anything meaningful at that time. You know, it was a lot of hanging out, a lot of kicking it, a lot of clubbing and things like that. But it was no growth, right? It was just kind of having fun, right? And so we have to evaluate, is our circle helping us or harming us? Is the people that I hang around with, the people who I talk to the most, the people who have the most access to me, are they helping me get to the next level, or are they harming me? And sometimes we find that, you know, our circle may be harming us. And so when we evaluate our circle, we have to make that distinction. Where are we going? You know, is it helpful if it's harmful? And so the second thing is we have to also think about is, where do you stand in your circle, right? And so in our circles, we are all influencing each other, right? So when we talk about evaluating whether our circle is influencing us for the better, we also have to evaluate where we stand in the circle, right? What am I bringing to my circle of influence? Am I being helpful to those that are in my circle, or am I being harmful to those that are in the circle, right? And so we have to be able to differentiate between that, because if we're not doing a good job at adding to the circle and adding growth to the circle and pouring into our own circle, then how do we expect to get something back in return that we need as far as growth? You know, it's easy for us to just hang out together, you know, enjoy the things that we enjoy, and nobody does anything different. Everybody just kind of stay on the same level, right? But when you start looking for more out of your life, more out of your dreams, more out of your ambitions, then you have to also take in consideration, are you giving more? Are you adding more, right? And so one of the things that we have to always be doing, and I talk about this a lot, is leading and feeding, right? We should always be leading someone somewhere. And whether we believe it or not, we are always leading someone somewhere, because someone is always watching, especially in this time where there's video on every camera. You know, every time you turn around, somebody's recording something. People are watching you, whether you know they're watching you or not. And I can attest to that, because I am a people watcher. You know, I wear shades most of the time, especially when I go out in public, because I like to watch people. I think people are interesting. And so I'm interested just in the people just doing everyday things and how they'll express themselves and how they enjoy themselves. So that being said, we are always being watched, which means we are always leading someone, whether we know it or not. We are always being an example to someone of something. Whether it's a good example or a bad example kind of goes into the eyes of the person that's watching, but we're always being an example. And so when I talk about our circles and where we stand in our circles, are we being a help to the people in our circle? Are we leading them, right? So when I start talking about where we are with our circles, are we leading them? We should always be leading them, which means we should always be adding some kind of value to the circle. And so if our circle wants to get better, if we want our circle to get better, then we have to start putting more into the circles so that they can get better, right? Feeding them more information and knowledge and wisdom, and putting into the circle the things that you want to get out. Also, the other thing is, I said leading and feeding. Feeding, which means you should always be getting information, right? You should always be receiving. Just as much as you're putting into your circle of influence, you should be receiving sort of the same from your circle of influence. And if you're not receiving what you need to receive from your circle, then you have to look for outside circles or networks to join that will give you the things that you need to receive. But when you go to outside of your circle to get the things that you need, do not leave your circle altogether, because if you're at the top of your circle, then that means those that are in your circle are looking for you to learn, right? They're looking to you to learn what you know. So if you have to go out and join, you know, different networks and get different learning, different understanding, you are then to bring that back to your circle, to uplift your circle and teach them the things that you know. So always leading and feeding our circles, right? And so when we're talking about not being able to get what we need from our circle, that's when we have to step outside our circle by joining new networks. And so we're going to get into networks. which is the people that, not the people that you grew with, but the people that you are new with, right? The people that are new experiences, new places, new things that you are trying to expand your mind, expand your, whether it's in business, whether it's in education, new people in new places, right? And so we start talking about networks. And first thing we have to think about when we're talking about a network is, why do we want a new network? Right. So our circle is sort of our network too, but our circles is the people that we grew up with that was always there. And so they're a different kind of network, which they're still a network. We all are in a network. So now we're talking about, we want to get into a different network, a different circle of people, or ideas, or education, or whatever you want to call it. We want to get into a new network. The first question we got to ask ourselves is, why do we want to be in it? Right? A lot of times people want to be in new networks for the opportunities that this new network can bring them. But I would say, first of all, look at your circle, look at your current network, and ask yourself, why do you want a new network? Why is it that the network that you are in now not good enough? Where is it not serving you? Or is it that you haven't even taken the advantage of the network that you already have? You're looking for the next thing, but you haven't even took advantage of the current things that you already have. Haven't even took advantage of the current people, the current relationships, the current opportunities that lie in the network that you have, especially with this social media generation that we have now, with there's so much being presented, so much being flashed in the media, with all these new businesses and new persons, and follow me, and we're looking at all these people and we're like, oh, I want to be like them. I'm going to follow them. I'm going to take their course. I'm going to do whatever the thing is that they're presenting. But could it be that while you're looking for something new, you haven't even took full advantage of the things that now may be old, right? You haven't even taken full advantage of the people and the opportunities that lie right in front of you. A lot of us looking to go to connect and be at the table and be in the networks of millionaires because, oh, I want more money. I want to get in here with these millionaires. But when you have hundredaires and thousandaires that's right there in your circle, and you haven't even took advantage of the information and opportunities that they have, right? You haven't even taken advantage to get to know better the thousandaire that lives next door, to at least be able to get on their level. But yet you're trying to get into a room with millionaires. And the thing is, when you get into a different network, that also comes with a different mindset. And so if you still have a mindset of a hundredaire, and you get into a room with millionaires, they're going to know just by the words that you speak and how you carry yourself that you're in this room, but you don't necessarily have the characteristics to allow you to stay in the room. Right? You have the opportunity to be in the room, but they're going to be able to tell that, you know what, you're not quite on that level yet. Maybe you have to go back to your old circle, right? And learn the things that you need to learn before, so that you are ready to step in to this new network. You're ready to step into this new circle of people that you are trying to get into. And so another reason why we look for networks is we're looking for like-minded people, right? Like-minded people and mentors, right? So this is why it's so important to get into new networks, right? Because we all have things that we're trying to do. Me personally, with the podcast community, I definitely stepped into that network to learn more about podcasting, to connect with more and other podcasters. Also as a speaker, stepping into the speakers arena, looking into different organizations and networks around speaking, so I could be more in that arena, just to be around like-minded people, just to be around people who's on the same journey that I'm on when it comes to speaking, when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to mentorship, just making sure that I'm in the same network or the same environment of like-minded people, because we have an understanding, we have a kinship, because we have the same goals and the same desires. And so that way we don't feel like a fish out of water, because a lot of times our friends and family and our circle of influence that we have don't necessarily understand us when it comes to different things, don't understand our drive, don't understand why we want to do a podcast, why we want to talk to people that we don't know, why we want to voice our opinion on the world. right? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to mentor kids? Why would you want to mentor other people, other people's problems and deal with those things and try to help people do that when you can just worry about yourself? So they don't always understand. And so we have to get into new networks where everyone in that network understands us because we are like-minded. And not only are we like-minded, then we look for mentors, right? We look for mentors to help us to get to where we're trying to get to. Many times we're in a space where we are the ones who people are coming to for help. We are the ones that people are coming to for direction. We are the ones that people are coming to for mentorship, right? They want us to mentor them, but we cannot pour out of an empty cup, right? In order for us to be able to continue to pour out into our friends, our family, those that we love, and those that are coming to us for information, we have to also be able to give, which means we have to be able to find someone to pour into us. So we have to look for mentors on our own, mentors in everything that we go to do. In our speaking space, I have a mentor. In the podcasting space, I have a mentor, as well as a network of like-minded individuals in both spaces, just so that we can grow together, share information, share ideas, right? And so that's what makes our network so powerful, right? And so one of the things that we have to think about when it comes to networking, because again, our network is we're trying to get somewhere. We're trying to get somewhere outside of our circle, higher than our circle, to the next circle, should it be, right? And the thing is, we don't necessarily want to go into these environments. We don't necessarily want to go into these new networks looking only to give. And so the question I want you to ask yourself, what are you bringing to the network? What are you putting in the net? What are you throwing in the net for your network, right? And so oftentimes that doesn't necessarily have to be experience, because you may not have the experience, right? You may not have the knowledge. You may not have the wisdom that someone else in this circle has. Again, that's why you're going, because you want to receive, but yet and still you have to be able to bring something to the network. What do you bring? What do you add? What of value do you add to it? Even if that value is just yourself, even if it's just your personality. Maybe you have a magnetic personality that always lift up the spirit in every room. That is definitely important to have, right? Especially when you get into networks where it's more mental. Maybe it's a more mental thinking network. And so mentally, people can get strained because they're always thinking of new ideas and strategies and all of these things. So maybe by you coming into this network, no, I don't have the information on how to, strategize for this next meeting, how to get to this next, this next level. But I could bring peace, I can bring joy, so that as you strategize, when I bring my personality into this new environment, into this network, then I can lift the spirit in the room, which makes it easier for us to be able to go through, be able to understand the things that we're trying to do. And it just makes the day go longer. But you have to figure that out. You have to figure that out for yourself. What is it that I bring to the network? What is it that you bring to your circle? What is it that you bring to all those who are in your environment that you have influence over or influence on? What do you bring? What are you giving, right? Is it information? Is it joy? Is it happiness? Is it laughter, right? Some people just have a personality where they can crack jokes and make fun and just lift your spirits, right? What do you bring? You need to know what you bring to the network. And whatever you do, last but not least, you want to add value, whatever that value is, whether it's servitude, whether it's laughter, whether it's joy, whether it's information, whether it's strategy, whether it's just new ideas. Maybe you're just a person that just have brilliant ideas. You don't know how to make them work. You might not know how to make them work, but you at least have the idea, and you can bring new ideas and new concepts to the network, to the table, right? So whatever it is, you're just making sure that you are adding value to the new networks that you're in. Again, as you're adding value, remember, you are coming there, you're receiving, but not just to add value to the new network, but also to take that value back, that information back to your circle, to lift your circle. So we always say if you're the highest person, or you're the most knowledgeable person, or whatever you want to call it, in your circle, then it's time to find a new circle or a new network that you can learn from. But don't leave your old circle, because now if you're the top person in your circle, now it becomes your job to pour back into that circle to lift everyone else up, right? To at least to where you are. And so when you lift them up to where you are, then you're able to go back again to these new circles, to these new networks, and learn more and gain more, right? And then that way you can take that back to your circle and lift them even more. So when we're talking about building the tables, a lot of times people want to be at the table, so to speak, with people that's already on a certain level. Again, we talked about millionaires, people that want to get into the room with millionaires, sit at the table with millionaires, and talk about the ideas of millionaires when you're may not be on that level to have those conversations. Yeah, you might be at the table, but can you take part? Do you have millions to invest in the new venture that the millionaires was talking about? Probably not, right? But you can build your own table, but where you are with fellow hundredaires, right? Thousandaires maybe, and you guys can put in the work, the concepts, begin to mold and make what do you want your table to be. And then while you're going into these networks and into these meetings and being able to be in the room with these millionaires, you take those concepts back to your circle, to your table with your fellow hundredaires and thousandaires, and you guys begin to build together to come up to be millionaires, or whatever it is that you trying to build. And not only use money as far as the terminology, because everyone can understand the concept of money, but your table don't necessarily have to be financial. It may be influence, it may just be lifestyle, it may just be happiness and peace, in your family, in your environment. What are you trying to build? Whatever that table is, whatever you're serving on your table, right? Whatever that you're serving, you want it to be the best that it can be. And so when you go into these new networks and these new circles, you learn more, you grow more, you bring that back to your circle and to your table and present it to those that you break bread with on whatever the situation is that you're breaking bread over. So again, going back just to recap real fast, we talk about circles. Is your circle helping you or harming you? We need to understand that. What do you stand in your circle? Are you the person that's bringing help in your circle, or are you the person that's harming the circle from getting better? Right? Understand that you're always leading someone. You should always be leading and feeding, and whether you know it or not, you are always leading someone, because someone is always watching. And also feeding. Make sure that you are going somewhere where you can be fed, where you can get information, where you can begin to grow personally, so that those that are coming to you for leadership, you can have something to pour into them. And understanding why, when you start talking about networks, why do you want to be in a new network? Why do you want to be in these new rooms? And also, have you taken advantage of those who are in the network or in the circle that you're already in? Have you taken full advantage in a positive way of those relationships that you have, of the relationships and the opportunities that you have now in your current circle? Have you exhausted all the possibilities that network and that circle has to offer before you jump out and go into another circle? Also, you want to get around like-minded people and mentors, and also realize or figure out, what do you bring to the table? What do you have to offer? While you're looking for a mentor, what do you have to offer that mentor? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the same information, because again, if you're coming to them for information, you can't offer them what you're trying to get from them. But what do you have to offer? Was it your personality? Whether it's your ideas, whether it's your concepts, whatever you have, whether it's just servitude, let me help you do whatever it is that you're doing, and be able to glean from your information and your knowledge at the same time. Whatever that is, make sure you guys understand where you stand in your circle as we build circles and nets. Again, that circles are people that we grew up with, or people that's readily available in our sphere of influence, in our environment, and our networks, the new people, the new places that we have to put ourselves in order to find the growth that we're looking to find. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Deals Here with E. James podcast. Also, just little things that I wanted to share with you guys. I know I mentioned it before, but I have been blessed to be a part of a organization called the Forgiveness Mission. In the Forgiveness Mission, we have free virtual workshops that we have every quarter of the year. So whenever you're listening to this, even one just passed or one that's coming up, they're free virtual workshops. So we talk about forgiveness, what it is, what is not, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. We've even added some new concepts to the presentation. So if you have seen it before, if you have been to one of our previous ones, please come back again and check out our next virtual workshop, because we're always adding things, always adding new concepts and new people, right? That's a part of it. And so we're definitely growing. I'm very happy to be a part of that. So make sure you check this out at forgivenessmission.com. Again, where we have free forgiveness virtual workshops every quarter of the year. You have to go to Eventbrite in order to register for that. But that is also is always there. So make sure you guys check us out. Also, I told you guys I would tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast. You can win $100 from the podcast by joining our super subscriber contest. What does that mean? That means first you must subscribe to our YouTube page, to our Facebook page, and to our podcast on Spotify. After you've done those three things, text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0737. 30. That's 866-326-0730 to qualify to win $100 from the podcast. It's ongoing and it's a random contest with me. At any time I can pull your name or you can win $100 just like that. Once you win, you're always in. You don't have to re-enter multiple times. Once you've done those three things and text the word WIN, WIN, to 866-326-0730, you'll always win. You're always able to win the $100 from the podcast. Man, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Make sure you guys are checking us out. Make sure you share it. Don't keep it to yourself, but share it with somebody else. We're always having dope discussions, always having great people on to give their ideas, their viewpoints, and their services of the experiences that they've had in order to bring, healing and, happiness, should I say wholeness, to everyone that listens to the podcast. So make sure you listen and check out some of our past episodes for some things that you may be dealing with, or some things that someone may be dealing with. We've hit on a lot of different subjects at this point. We're getting close. We're getting close to 100 episodes. We're coming up on 100 episodes. This is episode 85, so we're getting close to that 100 episode, which I think is going to be awesome. I can't wait to celebrate with some of my past guests and even maybe some of my future guests that are going to be on for the podcast. So make sure you guys are checking us out. Again, thank you so very much for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where our mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Until next time, be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.